Hey everybody, I'm Melissa Hunter, and I'm in a slightly different location. Actually, same room as it always is, just a different wall with some different stuff going on. The cat's about to run by and knock everything over. And today, as you can tell from the title, we're talking about something a little different, maybe a little weird for some of you. So we're coming to the end of 2022, and if you've been following me along on this channel, you know that I've been calling 2022 my year of unraveling. The word of the year was supposed to be discipline, and I kept telling myself that that was supposed to be the word of the year. But there was another word that kept coming out as I was working on my word of the year, and that word was unraveling. And I saw this image of myself spinning and literally my energy completely unraveling out of me. And in the process of becoming unraveled, it was knots were breaking up and blockages were forming and unforming. And if you ever tried to untangle a string of Christmas lights, a necklace, and sometimes in the process of untangling, you create new knots, and you're like, well, now it's tangled in a whole new way. So that's kind of been what I've been doing this year, is just unraveling. I figured out that discipline was not the correct word for this year at some point in the spring, I think, and then I just went with unraveling. And unraveling for me involved a lot of things that you did not see happening on here or on my other channel or on my social media. There was a lot of really difficult times. There was a lot of really funny times. There was some scary moments where I was really lost. And that's what it feels like to unravel. I think unraveling is really important. I think that it's something that we don't allow ourselves to do, and very often, let's be honest, life does not afford us the luxury of willingly coming apart. Now, many of us have come apart kind of in an unplanned, unsanctioned, unexpected, and unwelcome way, right? I mean, we've all been through that. I know I have many, many times. But this is one of the few times in my life that I allowed it to happen. That I just sat back and was like, okay, go. And I felt like after, the 2 years of the pandemic and kind of the first 5 years of my 60th decade of life, because you see, when you turn 50, it means you've been alive for 50 years and you are now moving into your 60th. You're going into the 6th decade of your life, which is, terrifying, but also 5 is a really significant number. 6 is a significant number. I really like the numbers 5 and 6. I have synesthesia to some extent, so numbers have colors, colors have sounds. It's like a whole thing goes on in my head. But anyway, I digress. But that is actually a good example of how my year went. The first thing that I think I want to clarify in this video is that I'm a Christian in a way that most other Christians are not. I'm also a pagan in a way that most other pagans are not. And then I guess maybe I'm an agnostic. I don't know. I think I'm too grounded in mythologies to call myself an agnostic. I'm not like, I know there's something out there. Like, no. There's something out there. There's something in here. And I think that's maybe where I don't fall into the agnostic camp. But through the unraveling this year, I realized I have to kind of let go of some of the definitions, the terminologies, the thought processes that keep me grounded too much to this earth, that ground me too much to this current existence, this current incarnation of myself into this body. And Christianity is a big part of that grounding. So how the heck can you call yourself a Christian and call yourself a pagan and talk about mythology? How the heck are you doing that? This is why I have a really hard time finding friends and people in my life that I can talk to about this stuff. Because if I talk to my Christian or Catholic friends, they have a very defined framework. And if I talk to my pagan or Wiccan friends or my non-Judeo-Christian friends, so I have Muslim friends and Buddhist friends and Hindu friends and atheist friends, and in my 50s I kept this all really quiet. In my 40s I was so busy trying to be a mother, trying to be a business person, and then fighting the battle of my life against multiple sclerosis. At least that seemed like the battle of my life at the time. And in my 30s, I was definitely more spiritual, a little more freeform, less defined. And if we go back into my 20s, my late teens and early 20s, I was probably felt the most me from a spiritual perspective than I have felt it at any other time in my life. That was because I had let go of everybody else's definitions, everybody else's frameworks. I had started to study paganism and Wicca when I was in high school, and then by college I was learning Gardnerian Wicca. I was part of a coven of new people to Wicca with some older folks who were, I guess they seem so old at the time, but I think they might have even been younger than I am now. But they had a couple of decades. They had come to this during the 60s and 70s when, there was a whole kind of cultural revolution going on. They'd had, a lot of ups and downs in their lives, but they knew a lot. But they were in no way linked back to the beginning of witchcraft or paganism, because no one is. Just like in reality, no one can trace their lineage back to Jesus, because there's just no way to do that, or Krishna or Buddha or, Papa Legba or anybody. Like, it's all about mythology. And mythology is how we humans explain the divine. And we need to create a framework that works for us. I used to work in an occult store. I apprenticed in learning how, I learned herbalism. I learned, how to cast spells. I learned how to mix oils and make candles that were infused not just with oils and herbs, but with intention. I've never really talked about it because while there's a bunch of people on the pagan Wiccan side of the world who will be like, oh man, that's so cool, there's a lot of Christian people who will immediately turn this off, cancel me, shut me down, because you're not who I thought you were. And you're not a real Christian. But see, here's the thing. I am. Because the myth, I was raised Catholic. I spent 12 years in Catholic school. The Judeo-Christian stories, mythology, spirituality, the religion, it's in me. It's a part of who I am in this lifetime. And when I tried in my 20s to cut that out of me, I couldn't. And my Wiccan friends could not understand that. And it was really hard. Because for them to accept me, I had to hide my love for Jesus and the Holy Spirit and my relationship with them. Because they couldn't accept them. Because they were symbolic of oppression to them. And then when I would find a Christian church, or I found a Catholic church for a little while that I liked, I could never tell them the truth about the other side of me, because I can't tell you how many times I even came a little close to saying something that was a little where, you know, I was told that, you know, I needed to pray that away, that there was a devil in me, that I needed to surrender that to God, that I needed to cleanse my heart, that I needed the Holy Spirit, that, you know, all of these things. And it's been really isolating, because I never really have a spiritual home except in my own home and in my own head. And even in there, I have battled between these two pieces of myself. But in the unraveling this year, I came to understand that none of that should matter to me, and that it no longer does. And so I think, you know, this video is more likely to get me, I'm making just a really rude assumption here. I'm thinking if anybody's going to cancel me because of this video, it's going to be my Christian friends. And that hurts, because I am still the same person that you've prayed with. I'm the same person that you have blessed. I'm the same person who's blessed you. I've prayed for you. Jesus is real to me. You know, the Holy Spirit is real. This is my faith and my mythology, and it's real to me. But it's just as real to me as my connection to the planet that I live on, that I was born from, that I'm pretty sure I have lived all of my lifetimes on. Although I'm totally open to being from another planet, you know, because that would be cool. I'm still me. I'm the me that I have always been. This is the same soul. It's the same soul that you loved when you thought I was Christian. I'm still Christian. I'm still me. But there's also another part of me that you don't know about, a part of me that draws power from the earth. And by power, I don't want you to be like, oh, demonic power. No. It's the power of God. It's the same power that you're drawing on when you invoke the Holy Spirit. It's the same power for my Catholic friends that comes from the Blessed Virgin, from the saints, from the angels. It's all the same thing, we're just calling it different things. I want to go into this next phase of my life living more truthfully to myself and not being as afraid of what other people will say or think about this particular thing. Because this is the thing that's closest to my soul and who I am. There's a lot of other things that I don't care what people think about me. This one, I've cared. And I think I still do care. I do. I don't want Christian people to think that when I'm saying things that make sense to them, that sound Christian, I don't want them to think that I'm lying. Because I really do feel those things. I really do believe those things. But at the same time, I don't want pagan people to feel confused or excluded by me talking about Jesus, by me talking about the Blessed Virgin, by me talking about Mary Magdalene. Although I think pagan people are a little more open to Mary Magdalene. But like the angels and the saints, yeah, that stuff's real to me too. It's all real to me. Because all faiths are one. We're all talking about the same thing. When we're opening ourselves to God and the divine, we're all opening ourselves to the same thing. We're just using different language because humans have this amazing gift and curse of language, of organizing thoughts and categorizing. We do that in a way that is unique to us, although I don't think we're the only animals on the planet with language and culture, but that's a story for another day. But this is how we organize things. And it can be a little too black and white. And I'm over here just rolling around in the shades of gray. What can I say? So what the heck does this mean? Why'd you make this video? No reason. I just wanted to tell you. And I'm excited to more openly explore this reality of who I am. So, for instance, I was given a weird gift. It's not weird. A lot of people have the gift. It's actually a very common gift. And it's a gift of being able to see patterns in people's lives or in people and kind of connect with their spirit and their energy and speak from what I'm connected to. So it's channeling. You've seen me. We've talked about it here. I've told you that I do it, that I open my mouth and I don't know what's going to come out. That I open my mouth and I say things that are so true, they make me cry. And I believe that that's God. That's the divine. That's, name it whatever you need to, but it comes out. I really enjoy doing that. It energizes me, it makes me feel connected to God. It also helps me, the more I do it, the more that I am able to hear and understand the messages from my own spirit, from my own soul, from my own self, from my own core divinity. And that's why when I was 13, I found tarot cards at my dad's house. They were my stepmother's. And she was like, oh yeah, no, you can, yeah, go ahead, do it, you know? And that's when I first discovered that I had this gift because, you know, at first I just started playing with them. And then I was kind of like, you know, like, oh, these symbols are really interesting. And then I eventually got my own set of tarot cards. And it's funny because by the time I got into college, when I got around other people who read tarot, people used to rip me because I have my own interpretations of what the cards mean and say, and it's entirely dependent on who I'm talking to and the energies that I'm with. Like when I read for myself, which is the only person I read for anymore, I've got my own thing going on. But I love tarot cards, and I used to have a nice tarot card collection. And then when I married my late husband, Billy, he was Christian and really didn't understand the pagan Wicca stuff part of me. And I shut that part of myself down. I boxed it up. And somewhere I lost our house when he passed away because money, and I lost a lot of my stuff. Because the sheriff seized the house. And I lost all my tarot cards. I lost my original teenage girl book of shadows. I lost a lot of books that I loved. I lost all of that stuff. And then I never, you know, for a long time I was like, oh well, you know, that was God's doing or whatever. But then in my 30s, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need those tarot cards back. So I got myself a trusty old Rider-Waite deck, and, you know, she's been with me ever since. And then I've, you know, started collecting tarot cards again over the years, and affirmation cards and oracle cards, and I love them. And I have a medium that I go to like once every couple of years. She's really, really talented, and I would love to find someone local to me who is a good reader, because reading for yourself can be a little, you know, you hear what you want to hear, you accept the messages that you want to accept, and if you read when you're worried about something, you get gloom and doom messages, and it's like a whole thing. So you have to kind of learn how to discern reality and all that. So yeah, I'm going to be leaning more into that side of myself. I set up a little corner of the studio that's a little more that vibe, and I really like it because I got a new desk and we moved things around the studio. I cleaned out a lot of the space because there were boxes everywhere, and it's just got a better flow here now. And so, you know, you might see this background now and again. You'll see my just general mess here and there, but be looking for some messages with a different vibe to them in 2023. I'm thinking about working on some other projects. I've been I was interested to see, because I know people do tarot readings on YouTube. And I was like, how do people do that though? You know, like how do you do that? And I watched, and then I figured out like energetically how they're doing it, and it not to go into too much detail, I'll do that if I ever make a channel about this, but they're basically space and time have no actual meaning. It's just our brains need to put everything linearly. So I understand how the energy thing works. I just don't know if I would be able to do it. I've never tried to read people through the digital world. I've always done it like in person with people. So it'd be interesting to try. And yeah, so that's my truth. I was going to say, I'm looking forward to hearing from you in the comments below and hearing what your hearts say, but I'm also a little scared. I'm a little afraid that you're going to be weirded out, but I hope you're not. And if you are, and if you need to unsubscribe or cancel me or whatever, if you could do so sort of calmly and quietly, that would be nice. But if you need to rage on the way out, that's okay. We'll just delete it, because I don't like leaving rage on my page. And yeah, so that's the story there, folks. I'm a witch and a Christian. I'm a Christian witch. I'm a witchy Christian. I'm everything that God made me to be. I am exactly who God made me to be. What can we say? Sometimes the divine has a sense of humor. So I thank you for listening to me. I thank you so much. Hopefully this will help us to get more better, to get to do more together in terms of getting better together. And part of that is living your truth. And so I'm gonna live mine. I love you so much. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a happy winter solstice, a happy New Year, and all of the other holidays that happen as we go through the big solstice changeover in December. I love you all so much, and I will see you again real soon. Bye!